Okay. So we'll discuss about multimedia. Okay. See, as the name implies, combination of its multimedia is a combination of different forms of media into a single entity. Okay, it can be defined as the media in which spatial data, that is the text, image, and sound, they are merged with temporal data, that is the voice and the video. Okay, by means of a unifying object, that is the computer. So this definition lays emphasis on the bringing together two different types of data. Okay. However, there is another aspect to multimedia, which lays accent on the transformation of the traditional media and leading to the emergence of a new media called online media. See, multimedia revolution has been possible by three technologies, okay? And they are computer and high-level languages, digital video, and network superhighways. Okay. High-level languages like HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, they are enabling the creation of web pages that have high multimedia content. Okay. So specialist multimedia programmer designers, and they also design and write web pages which use text, sound, graphics, and pictures. Okay. And it can be 2D, 3D modeling, and also virtual reality. Then digital video is audio visual in a binary format. And information is presented as a sequence of digital data, okay? Unlike the analog video where data is presented as a series of electronic signals. Here, computers can easily process binary data when compared to analog data, okay? And then with multimedia and digital video and audio, multimedia has got a, shot in the arm. That means it has enhanced. Then with advancements in satellite technology and highly sophisticated cable networks employing fiber optics, the networks are carrying high volumes of internet traffic with great speed. So besides transferring information, the internet is providing all other kinds of interactive services such as electronic mail or voice telephony and video conferencing, electronic commerce, etc. Okay. So thus, multimedia can be said to be a result of the convergence of several traditional industries, mainly the computer science and communications, and the content industries such as the audiovisual, publishing, or sound recording and media industries. So multimedia came into being in the early 1980s with the hypertext of Apple computers, and subsequently it spread to all types of data like graphics, fixed images or video sequences, and then we have animations and sounds. So it could be digitized, right? But it was the hyper document, that is a non-linear document composed of nodes and links, which became like what we known as multimedia. Okay. And it has applied not only to the line production such as the CD-ROMs, but it has also, applications available on networks and on the internet in particular. And multimedia products can be developed on various types of media, such as discs like CD-ROM or interactive terminals and online networks. So, however, they are broadly grouped into two categories, that is online media and the offline applications. Here, online products can be accessed via telephone networks, cable or broadband networks, which are known as information superhighways, okay, such as the internet. And offline multimedia contents are not transmitted directly via the networks, but they are pre-recorded. Okay. So since the net is a convergent medium, online news has many advantages over other forms of news, which means it can combine information delivery through audio, visuals, and text in a way no other medium could offer, right? So the focus is on visuals and sounds, and it maximizes the use of photos, and then audio, video, wherever appropriate. And while presenting news in the context of a newspaper format, added multimedia features may become, one of online journalism's greatest strength. And in addition to the printed story in the newspaper, the text might be accompanied by a video or a slideshow of photographs online, right? So reporting is not limited to writing now, because journalists equipped with video cameras, with sound recording devices can capture sights and sounds in a new and innovative way to add dimension to the storytelling. And also, reporting process and news sites can, innovate way to add dimension to, and also they can package it completely, right? And new and exclusive story can be conveyed through this way. So the reason for online news sites ability to use multimedia is that they have virtually unlimited space, right? See, unlike their print counterparts, and when compared to a TV or a sound clip, or is much easier than changing it. A TV channel, converting from a video to sound clip is very much easy now. Navigation. That means that navigation part has become very easier. And newspapers publishers can take full advantage of multimedia and can come up with online newspapers, okay, that are loaded with multimedia features in order to increase their revenues and also to enhance the reputation of the brand names, okay, thereby increasing the circulation of their hard copy newspapers. And then TV news channels can create online counterparts, which will help in interactive with the, interactivity can be increased with the audience, and instant feedback on the news channels or popularity of the programs they have telecasted, thereby assisting to some extent in calculating the TRPs. So it can also do away with the repeat broadcast of popular or archived news items, as viewers can watch them online. So this has also been done. It can be rewatched, okay? And then we also have gatekeeping here. What is gatekeeping? Gatekeeping is the process through which information is filtered for dissemination, right? Whether for publication, whether it is for broadcasting the internet or some other mode of communication. So the academic theory of gatekeeping is found in multiple fields of study, okay, including communication studies, journalism, political science, and sociology. So it was originally focused on the mass media with its few to many dynamic, but now gatekeeping theory also addresses face-to-face communication and also many-to-many dynamic which is inherent in the internet. So gatekeeping occurs at all levels of the media structure, okay? From reporter deciding which sources are chosen to include in a story, to editors deciding which stories are printed or covered, okay, and includes media outlet owners and even advertisers as well. So individuals can also act as gatekeepers, deciding what information to include in an email or in a blog, okay? So this is about gatekeeping and multimedia. Then moving on to web designing. The World Wide Web consists of a vast assortment of files and documents, okay, that are written in some form of hypertext markup language, that is HTML, okay, that instructs browsers of displaying the information. Then a web browser is a program that displays web pages and other content on the web, right? So when a web page is opened in a browser, the browser reads and interprets the HTML file, and it then displays the formatted web pages. So here web editors are software programs that create and edit web pages in a visual editor or by using a built-in HTML editor here. So content and its presentation is the most important part of any website, right? So it is what people visit for and hopefully they recommend, right? Depending on the content and the presentation part. So websites content can be presented in many forms. So the most common and accessible being the text and graphics. So we scan web pages looking for specific words or phrases. When an item is found that matches, they try to click that object to get related information, right? So they ensure a clear, visual hierarchy on each page by taking advantage of conventions and break pages up into clearly defined areas. See, creation, in order to register for a web, so creation of a new website demands a unique name that no one else has registered or owns, right? So uniqueness can be ensured by doing a name search or at a domain name registration website. See, there are some, domain name registration websites as GoDaddy.com. You can check there, as it allows entering of multiple names and also show possible extensions. And then domain registration services generally, charge an annual fee to register a domain name. And domain names are generally registered for 1 to 10 years at a time. And then the registration must be renewed after the expiry. Okay. So if a domain name is not renamed, then that domain name becomes invaluable, or, it will be available for others. It will not be, available for us. It will be in an open source. So anybody can register that. So for business websites, it is better to use a .com extension. Okay. That means pick a domain name from the .com or you can also check this .gov, .net, .org or .edu. Okay, these are the extensions that are available. And also it is a good idea to also register with all of these extensions to prevent anyone else from using them, right? So someone might use an extension with the same website, okay, name, and for undesirable activities, and then they may send some wrong signals for the people who intend to use the website. So other extensions are registered for domain name, and then after the completion of the host, they sign up a procedure. For example, I told you, right, www.godaddy.com. Okay, it is a very inexpensive, website to register, and you can also register several extensions and set them up so that they will forward to the primary extension. And then some domain name extensions are country unique. Okay, so the above registration method works for most domain name extensions. And if unable to use this method to register a particular country unique domain name extension, then a browser search is to be made to find out an organization that registered the desired extension. Okay. And then, so how to get a website domain name? See, every website has a unique host domain name, like we have our Ambedkar, right? braou.com or igno.ac.in, or we have ap.gov.in. Okay. So before creating a website, one must decide a name for the website that nobody else has used. Okay. Or they should not have reserved also earlier. So decide on a suffix or extension, which is part of the domain name. And the most common extension for America is .com, and some extensions are intended for specific types of organization. Okay. See, the unique name is a combination for the basic name and the extension, and is called a URL. That is the uniform resource locator. So therefore, our university website, that is braou.com and braou.net, could be owned by different individuals, companies, right? So sometimes a person or a company will register or purchase a basic name and multiple extensions to prevent someone else from using them. If .com extension is registered, then it is a good idea to get registered for the .net and .org extensions as well. Okay, for this domain name, because to prevent someone from using them as their website. And when other extensions are registered, they set that domain extension to automatically forward a viewer to the main extension. And then if any of the other extensions are not available, be sure the websites using the other extensions, they are not something objectionable, as someone might go to them and they wanted to visit the intended website. So many countries have country unique extensions, and they can get website registered with the country. For example, .in is for India, .ca is for Canada, .co.uk is for United Kingdom. Then for Germany, we have .de. For Japan, we have .jp. So these are some of the examples for country unique extensions. Okay. Then next step is to select a hosting company. The website pages must be available on an internet host server, right? So you have to set computer, to serve as the host server for chosen website. See, this is not recommended unless knowledge and capability of maintaining the server on a 24/7 basis exists. So there are 3 categories for web hosting. Okay, they are shared category, VPS, and then dedicated. And there are plenty of hosting companies that want to host the websites, right? So hosting companies charge the client based on the requirements or their expertise, and also complexity involved in designing the website. Okay. And many hosting companies will lure with cheap hosting packages, but will not provide reliable service. Okay. So if reliable service is required, then a hosting company with experience and expertise should be picked. And during the sign-up process, ensure to make choices as to, the hosting plans and features, depending upon the package. So see, you have to, before making the right choice, you have to get some information, right? Okay. See, for non-business and small business websites, the least expensive plan may be adequate. So the more expensive plans offer more features and capabilities, which is required for larger business establishments. And then for your operating system choice, you can, go for Linux or Windows, because this applies only to the server and it makes no difference, what operating system is used. And if billing, as far as billing cycle is concerned, it is less expensive per year if hosting is ordered for more than 1 year annually. Okay, so you have to choose the web host. And also, see, advertising, most free web hosts impose advertising on websites. So this is done to cover the cost of providing site the free web space, or the associated services which they provide. So some hosts place a banner on web pages and other display a window, that pops up every time a page or website gets loaded. So while other impose an advertising frame there. So there is really no hard and fast rule which is to be preferred. So most web users, they hate pop-up window, and other webmasters dislike to stuff banner codes into pages. So and many people cannot stand an advertising frame as well. So you have to note that free web hosts without post advertisements are not necessarily good news. So without a viable means to recover the cost of running the server, such hosts close with, alarming frequency. People get irritated. And then, for the amount of web space, you have to consider, does it have enough space for needs? Then you have to ensure the hosts have capabilities to expand the site, if required for future expansions. That has to be kept in mind. And most sites use less than 5 MB of web space. So need of space varies depending on how many pictures, pages, sound files, or video clips, etc. are used. Then we have this, FTP access, that is the file transfer protocol. It is the most common method used by people to transfer web pages and other files, right? So some free hosting providers allow designing of pages, with their online site builder. So this is useful for beginners. They have their own templates. So, but if they have a desire to expand later, then online page builder does have little facilities to fulfill needs, because it's already custom made, right? So online site builders also have significant disadvantages also when you are planning to expand. Okay. And then this FTP access, or, at the very least, the ability is to upload web pages by email or browser is needed here. So if you're planning to expand, it has many disadvantages. Okay. Then you have to also consider about the file type and size limitations. Okay. See, some free hosts impose a maximum size of, on each of the file for uploading. See, with other sites restrict the file types for upload to HTML, and sometimes they are also restrict to GIF or JPG files. So you need to keep in mind that also, the storage also, the limitations of the size. Then the reliability and speed of access should be kept in mind, because speed and reliability is extremely important, right? A site that is frequently inaccessible, for example, it tends to lose the visitors, right? If someone finds a website on the search engine and access is unsuccessful, then the user would try other related sites, right? So slow access is also very frustrating for, intended visitors. You have to test and try speed of access frequently over a period of time, both during peak as well as off peak hours. So that has to be taken care of. Then technical support. See, technical support functions for 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, right? No, or we can say all year around. So it is no surprise at how often things go wrong at the most inconvenient of times. So incidentally, just because a host advertised that it has 24/7 support does not necessarily mean that it is really has that kind of support. So you have to test them out by emailing at midnight and on Saturday nights, Sunday mornings, etc. Okay, at odd times also, and check out how long they take to respond. Because besides speed to respond, also you have to check to see if they are technically competent as well or not. Okay. Then you can also include this email autoresponders or mail forwarding. Okay. See, client side, they wants to have email addresses at their own domain, and also the host allows them to set up, right? So that the mails can be forwarded to email address or placed into a mailbox or a web hosting. Host allows client to manage different aspects of web account here. And then control panel also allows managing different aspects of web account. See, typically bare minimum, it should allow to do things like add, delete, and also manage email addresses and change passwords for account. So such a common maintenance course that every webmaster performs time and time again. And it would be a great hassle if people had to wait for technical support to make small changes. And then data transfer or traffic, bandwidth is the amount of bytes you transferred from client to server side. So commercial web host uses unlimited bandwidth and payment is made for commercial use of bandwidth also. See, and if customers, if they consume a lot of it, they will be charged accordingly for the usage of that. So many high bandwidth websites have found receiving an exorbitant bill for having exceeded the unlimited bandwidth. So always look for details on how much traffic the package allows. Then you have disk space. So look for those unlimited disk space schemes. See, nowadays many web hosts impose a limit on the amount of traffic the websites can use per day, right? And per month. So this means that if both the pages and graphic images on the site are loaded by visitors beyond a certain number of times per day, or let's say per month, see, the web host will disable the website if additional payment is not made on the excess of usage, right? So it is difficult to recommend a specific amount of bandwidth since it depends on the design of the website, the target audiences, and the number of visitors that are attracted to the site. Okay. So all these factors has to be considered while choosing the host or the server. Okay. Then, when it comes to the designing of the website, there are many ways of designing a web page. Okay. So the basic for a designing of a web page is to know how to program in HTML. That is the hypertext markup language or programming source code for web pages, and also the use of a simple word processor. So there are many web design software products available that create the HTML, and also many web design products that support, the interface that helps in word processing, and also the graphic design methods for designing a web page. So the HTML is generated automatically, and there are some web design products which are less expensive and they are very simple and easy to use for creating a simple web page. So for creating a complex website with design, which includes product catalog, shopping, the shopping carts, etc., and then more sophisticated web design software products are required there. And experience in web design helps in creating a complex website, or else we can hire a professional web designing consultant to accomplish all those tasks if you are unable to do so. So most website hosting companies provide free basic web design software on purchase. Okay. So, but it is always better to use inexpensive, products where you can do it yourself. So the web hosting company on hire will automatically create a temporary homepage, which tells, what the website is all about. Then creation of the new web pages cannot be viewed from the internet. And web design software has templates that can be modified to suit the requirements. But it is better to design own templates by creating a new page and, design with all the basic items like the header, the page links, then you can include the colors or graphics or whatever you want in the website, and you can save the page design with a suitable file name. And then same template page with the website title and description can be used for creating different website pages with a suitable name and with appropriate additions and modifications. So the website homepage should be saved as, it can be saved as index.html, or you can save as home.html. Okay. And then all web pages should be saved as HTML files in a folder. Okay. Or you can save it on hard drive before they are uploaded and published. You need to save it carefully and then test them to see how they look like, on the web page, and also ensure the proper functioning of all the links which you're providing. And testing is especially important to overcome the most common design errors. So always test before you start. And animations. The animations can be effective for drawing attention, but it should not be overused as they slow down page loading. And there are many websites that have downloadable animations, like some for free and most of them for a price. So animations effects can be created from a series of GIF or JPG files using animation software. Okay, and then some website design products allow you to create animated text like moving, images, etc. Then animation is rapid display. What is animation? Animation is, display of a sequence of static images or objects to create an illusion of movement. Okay. So the most common method of presenting animation is as a motion picture or a video program. See, although there are, other methods as well, but this type of presentation is usually accomplished with a camera. Then, a projector or a computer is needed, or a computer viewing screen, which can be, rapidly cycle through images in a sequence. And then animation can be made with either hand rendered art or computer generated imagery, or sometimes three-dimensional objects, for example, the puppets or clay figures, or, a combination of different techniques. So the position of each object in any particular image relates to the position of that object in the previous, or you can see the following images, so that the object, each appear to fluidly move independently over the another. So the viewing device displays these images in rapid succession, okay? So usually it may have from 24 to 30 frames per second in an animation. See, traditional animation was the process used for most animated films of the 20th century. If we observe the individual frames of a traditionally animated films, where the photographs, or drawings that are drawn on the paper. So it used to create the illusion of movement, or each drawing where differs slightly from the one drawn on the earlier one. So the animators or the drawings were traced or photocopied into transparent sheets, which were called as cells, and then which were filled in with paints and with assigned colors on the side opposite to the line drawings. They were kept, opposite of each other, and the complete character cells were photographed one by one. And, it also, they were put against a painted background by, a camera into motion picture film. So this was the way the traditional animation was used in the 20th century in most movies. So the traditional cell animation process, they became obsolete by the beginning of the 21st century. And today, animators' drawings and the backgrounds are either scanned into or drawn directly into a computer system now. And then there are various software programs which are used to color the drawings, and they can stimulate camera movements and effects. Okay. And the final animated piece is the output to one of several delivery media. That is the traditional 35 film, and then newer digital media. So the look of traditional cell animation is still preserved, but the character animator works has remained essentially the same over the past century. So some animation producers have used the term now, instead of traditional cells, they have used the term tradigital. That is the digital, tradition of animation, which makes, extensive use of computer technology. Then we also have stop motion animation, where, stop motion animation is used to describe animation, which is created by physically manipulating real world objects and then photographing them one frame of film to, to another by creating an illusion of movement. And there are many different types of stop motion animations available, usually named after the medium used to create the animations. For example, computer software is extensively used to create this type of animation. And, in comparison to traditional stop motion animation, it is usually less expensive, and it is also, time consuming to produce than current computer animation. So because it is digital now. And then web pages can also be designed to include audio files. And then when web page opens or a web page event like a button click is initiated. And then most people find the automatic playing of a sound file annoying, right? So don't design an audio for the web page unless it's truly appropriate for you. Unless and until it's very important. Then there are different ways of adding sound to web pages, and it is noticed once the user enters this page, right, with speakers on. So here, control panel is used to start the sound file on their own, or they have the sound start automatically. And then another option is to link the sound file to have the sound file open in an external player. So this option gives users the option of saving, sound file to their computer. And then you can also have backgrounds. What is a background? See, a background is a color or design that fills the entire screen behind the text or graphics of a web page, right? The background color. So make sure the background adds aesthetic value to a website. And visual backgrounds take longer time to load, right? And can also make it harder to read the text on the page. So a light colored background can reduce your eye strain on the viewer, but they can also, a black background, if you are planning to use a black color background, then it is not highly recommended, because as it can make the page text hard to read, and it can also adversely affect the readability of printout as well, right? And the as per the aesthetic value also doesn't look good, because the value for the attribute is the path of the image file there. So if this example, we can cite an image file name. If you want to save a file, image file, you can save it like this, okay, test.jpg in the same directory of that HTML file which we earlier saved, so that you can retest it and check yourself. Then you have to have a very clean layout. That means, see, tendency of new web designers is to make more fancy, or they tend to make exotic web pages with varying color combinations, and they almost experiment with graphics and complex designs, okay? So, but in the reality, you have to keep the web pages very simple, clean, and also you have to provide a provision for instant loading. So on the other hand, if a website is complex and cluttered, then the prospective customers have trouble finding the desired information, and they'll soon give up and navigate to another related website, right? And then we also have the issue of copyright. That means any information from a copyrighted sources, like the printed matter on a website, it is to be used with permission from the copyright owner. And any portion of a website should be considered copyrighted unless it is specifically stated that the information graphic is free for download. And important point is that a copyright notice does not have to be displayed, because for it is to be considered as the it is used for research as long as substantial portion is not quoted. So copywriting of any published work, including websites and emails, is generally considered to be automatic. So there may be some additional legal benefit from taking formal action to copyright a website. So that has to be taken care of. Then talking about the font type and size, the fancy or unique font styles should not be used, as they are often very hard to read, and they do not make the website more effective, right? Plus at the same time, all the browsers does not support all the fonts. So only simple, easy to read fonts should be used, and some of the most commonly used fonts are the Arial or the Verdana, Giordano, because they are very easy to read on a computer screen. Okay, the next most common font can be Bookman or Century, and the very common one is the Times New Roman. And the other important thing is how the font looks on the screen and how easy the text is to be read. Okay, so a font size generally of 11 or 12 point is recommended for the text body, but usually 12 is the perfect, because heading should be bold and it may be a little larger. So size of 10 point may be acceptable, and smaller sizes below 10 should be rarely be used because it is hardly seen. And then a web page can be divided into frames, with each frame having its own scroll bar or webmaster, because they can find out that the use of frames are, sometimes can confuse or annoy the users. So frames should only be used if there is no other way to effectively present the content. And frames can cause, undesired results when the back button is used or when a page is printed. So also information in a frame may not be read by some engines, search engines, and hence the page ranking can be affected. So, frames you have to avoid. And also, frames also divide a browser window into several pieces or panes. And each pane, they contain a separate HTML document. And one of the key advantage is that frame offer is load and reload single panes without having to reload the entire content of the browser. So this is one of the advantages. So there are some drawbacks as well, because some browsers, they do not print well from frame sets, and some smaller devices cannot cope with frames because their screen is not big enough to be divided up, right? And sometimes page will be displayed differently on different computers due to different screen resolutions. And, there are some browsers who still do not support the frame technology. It's better to avoid the usage of frames. Then the graphic images like the pictures, the illustrations, logos, etc. They require more data bits than text for the same space used. So here web page loading time is determined by the number of data bits that have to be sent over the internet. Okay, so this means that the page with a lot of graphics take longer time to load, right? This is especially true for the dial-up connections. So see, data bit size of a graphic file can be decreased by using screen capture software, or you can create a new file from displayed image. So graphic files used in a web page should normally be GIF or JPG files, where JPG files are usually a little larger than the GIF files, but the quality of JPG files is better than the GIF file. Then web pages can also be designed in such a way that the video files, they are played when the web page opens for display, or when a web page event, if you initiate a web page event, then you have to avoid using video files unless the web page desires, because as they take a considerable time to load with, for example, high probability of losing a customer as well, because people get irritated. Then links can be programmed to open the destination page in the same browser or window to a new window. Okay. Then the default is usually to open the destination page in the same window, right? So this is fine for moving around in website, but it is not used for referral links. Because if you open a new window, link is not used, then the prospective customers may find they can never find their way back to home page on the website. So you have to include the home page at the top, and most website design software allows how the destination window is to how to get back to the home page, right? Then the page length. The ideal page length is where everything is displayed on the screen, and then you don't have to need to use a scroll bar. So this is the ideal length, and sentences and paragraphs should be concise and short. Okay, so the goal is to communicate effectively, and also you don't have to impress your prospective customers with the ability to you don't have to use fancy words or narratives with big words. So you also have to consider using it next to a very simple language which is very easy to understand and read by your prospective customers. Okay. And then templates. See, web templates can be used by any individual or organization to set up the website. And then once a template is purchased or download, the user will replace all generic information included in the web template with the personal or let's say organizational or product information. Okay. So templates can be used for, display of personal information or daily activities as in a blog. Then to sell the products online, or to display information about a company or organization, or to display family history. You can display gallery of photos. You can place music files online for play through a web browser. Then you can also place videos online for public viewing. And then you can also set up a private login area online. Okay. So templates can be used for all these following activities. And then size and dynamism is also very important aspect, because responsive design means creating web pages that adopt to different devices and screen sizes. So it uses the same content, but it presents it differently depending on whether you're using a mobile phone or an iPad or laptop or a desktop computer, right? So it responds to different interactions, such as for users with a mouse click, or or touch screens, or it often changes the layout to fit the availability of the display depending upon the screen type and the screen size. So, and computer screen resolutions can be adjusted to make the displayed information larger or smaller anytime, right? So screen resolution is calibrated in pixels. That means a pixel or picture element is the smallest elements of a computer screen display. And the most commonly used resolution, it's used to be 800 pixels. And then before the advent of the high resolution flat screen monitors. And now Widescreen monitors are now, they are using a resolution of up to 1600 into 1900 or sometimes higher than that. And many people are still confined to older monitors these days. So if a web page is designed with computer resolution set at, for let's say 1600 into 1900, which was earlier, and if the screen space is same, then it will look fine. But if someone is using a lower resolution screen, then only a portion of the web page is visible and the other portion requires scrolling down the web page. So that has to be kept in mind. And people, are used to vertical scrolling, but may be annoyed at the, need to scroll horizontally. So when a web page is designed for a high resolution screen for print, then you have, all the information may not fit on the printed display page, right? So generally designing web pages for a 1024 into 768 resolution is recommended because, on the as compared to the other resolutions. Okay. Then these days, mobile first is also becoming increasingly popular because as a design method to ensure mobile visitors get great experience, because most of the people are browsing through their mobile phones these days. And Google has in recent years increased the importance of mobile experience because when ranking websites in their search. In 2014, see, all website owners needed to make the sites responsive to avoid falling in the rankings. And in 2018, Google announced its mobile first indexing approach because people usually use mobiles to access the websites. Then you also have to, adapt to the screen size. See, at a minimum, a web page needs to be scaled to fit the screen size or server, right? So let's say of any mobile device. Nowadays, mobile devices come with very high screen resolutions. So the pixel density on mobile device is much higher than that of desktop screens, right? So it is important to format a page in order to match the mobile screen, with their in-depth independent pixels. That is the, the meta tag included is the, the head of the HTML document, which addresses this requirement. Then we also have splash screens. See, some sites use the homepage to display a splashy screen, which includes advertising or some sort of fancy introduction with animation and sound. So most people don't like splash screens as they take time to load and rarely provide any useful information. So if a splash screen is used, be sure to include a link that allows viewers to skip the splash screen. Okay, a cross mark should be there to close and skip that splash screen. And then testing, you have to make sure that testing is prior testing is done before you go live. Okay, you have to test all the links, the text and the graphic icon. Broken links are the most common problem sometimes. Then you have to view the display position of screen elements because they don't always look the same in a browser as they look on the design screen. Then you have to print and read all pages, okay, because errors are seen on a printed copy that was not noticed on the screen display. And then you have to have, peers proofread it. You have to get it proofread from your peers as for errors and also a lack of good design. And if possible, view with different browsers like the Internet Explorer, the Netscape, Mozilla, obviously Google Chrome. So you have to check the mobile view and also the desktop view of the page. So how to publish or upload the web pages? See, the process of getting completed web page to host server is called the uploading or publishing, right? So the web design product will happen simultaneously. So if not, there are file transfer protocol software products available that will upload or transfer the files to host server. So some web design softwares upload or publish functions will not work with all the hosting companies. Function. Then remember that homepage should have index.html or index.htm as the file name. You need to check that. You have to test the website after the upload, and you have to be sure that all necessary files are successfully uploaded and you worked out correctly. Then to upload a web page, you have to upload that page with all related files, and the upload will override the auth files. So some web design software products have web pages in their own unique file format, and they automatically convert the files to web files. Example, HTML. And when the upload publish function is used, the software is used for uploads, then you have to save or you have to export for the web page, right? If it's a good idea, it is a good idea to save these files in a separate folder to make sure that the file selection is easier, as the web design unique format, it doesn't look nice if you want to reload it, all the time whenever you open the page. So you have to keep it separate and also sometimes handy. Okay. So talking about the size and resolution, while 640 into 480 is not as common as it is used to be in earlier days. So this resolution is it is around here, but in some old generation systems only, like the older computers or the laptops with smaller screens or the notebooks. And people, who need larger fonts all use this resolution of. But now 800 into 600 is very common as in many website design. And even professionals recommend designing websites for 800 into 600 resolutions, because while the resolution is more common in the web at large, this may not be the case in some instances. And 1024 into 768 is the other popular size to design, because many designers have monitors that support this natively. But this resolution can be, fairly hard to read for many people, because a 14-inch laptop monitor might support 1024 into 768, but the text is virtually unreadable. So 1280 into 1024 and larger are less common. Mostly these large resolutions are for desktop computers and sometimes for high-end laptops. But often, as these larger sizes, the customers are not browsing full screen. So designing a site that's wider than 1000 pixels is going to, cause horizontal scroll bars on most screens. So you can avoid that. Any doubts? Okay, so that's all for today on designing, publishing the websites. Okay, web designing. So we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, bye.